Welcome CIS 125 students. I'm going to use Screencast-O-Matic software in order to videotape this instruction so that I can answer some of the questions that are coming in for the fill handle assignment. I have typed up part of the material that you've been asked to create. What is missing, I'm going to actually use in my instructions. The first thing I want to show you is you're asked to use the Merge and Center in order to center the title using a fill handle to create a series. What I would like for you to do is to select A1 through H1 and from the home ribbon click Merge and Center. This will center it across the width of the columns no matter what the width is. Some of you will put your cursor in front of the U in using and actually hit the space bar in order to move that text over so that it appears as if it's centered. I can tell if you've used the right concept by increasing the width of a column. The title should actually stay centered above columns A through H. So if I increase the width of D, notice that using the fill handle to create a series moved over. It is still actually centered between A1 and H1 without worrying about the width of the columns. If you use the space bar, the text will actually stay exactly where you put it. The next step I want to point out to you is that the height of row 1 and row 2 appear to be a little bit larger than the rest of the text that you're going to put in there. Use the same concept when increasing the height of the row as you do when increasing the width of a column. If you move your cursor between the 1 and the 2 and drag down, you can increase the height of the row. Now I'm not going to increase the height of row 2 just yet because I want to show something to you later on. The text using the fill handle to create a series should be larger. So with that cell selected, and it's considered one cell, increase the height of the text. You can also increase the width, increase the text vertically or horizontally. You now have 6 icons to choose, so I'm going to center it vertically and horizontally. The next comment I'm going to make is in cell C2, according to the instructions, it should say days of on one line, week on another line, and abbreviated on a third line. But all of that text is still located in one cell. So in order to put more than one line of text in a cell, you use the Alt-Enter command. So putting your cursor in C2, if you type days of, and with your hands on the Alt, with your finger on the Alt key and then hit Enter, you will be able to type in week, and again Alt Enter. Notice that it appears to be actually going in C3, but it's not. When you get done typing in the word abbreviated and hit Enter, itself will increase the height of row 2. Abbreviated should not be hyphenated the way it is, so I'm going to increase the width of the column so that abbreviated fits on one line. You can still resize the cells as long as you can see everything. The next thing I'm going to show you is that row 1 and row 2 should be filled in with a specific color, a color of your choice. Many of you will select row 1 and row 2 this way, but notice that these cells are also selected and they are not part of my data. If you fill them with a particular color, all of these rows are filled. clear off to the right-hand side. You do not want to do that. So I'm going to undo until I get to the point where I can select A1 through H2 and fill it with a particular color. Now you may or may not see the lines between the columns depending on what color you chose. If you go to Print Preview, you do not want to see those lines. If you are seeing those lines with the text still selected, the home ribbon, the font group, and select the border icon and make sure that you select no border. The next thing I want to do is to have you move your cursor to A3 where it says 9 a.m. If you type in 9:00 and then forget the space after the 0 and type in AM, it will not capitalize AM. And that is what you're going to use in order to assure that Excel is reading it as a time. AM should automatically capitalize. With that cell selected, I want you to grab the fill handle and drag it down to row 17, as the instructions told you. That same process will work if you select Monday. Excel actually knows that by dragging this fill handle down, it will change to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and repeat the pattern. If it does not, then you do not have the fill handle object in the lower right-hand corner of the cell selected properly. You will either move the word Monday to a different cell or fill it with Mondays all the way down. The width of the cell is not wide enough because it flows over into column C, so I'm going to increase the width of the cell. By double-clicking, it automatically calculates how wide the cell has to be and fixes it. Days of week abbreviated, Excel actually recognizes Monday as an abbreviation, MON as abbreviation for Monday. So grabbing the fill handle, you can drag it down and it will fill the series with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to jump over to E3 now and go to the names of the month. And notice that when I select December, I can grab the fill handle and drag it down, and it actually recognizes it as a month and fills it with January, February, March, and repeats the process. The same thing will work with December, abbreviated with DEC. Now I want to jump over to column H. You put your cursor in H3, similar to what you've done in the other columns that we've worked on. Select the fill handle and drag down. The computer will not only pick up the pattern, but it will change the second, third, and then pick up the fact that it's fourth year, fifth year. The ND, the RD, and the TH, it will fix for you. Now, the three columns that I have not completed, I have done that for a reason. First thing I want to do is to have you move your cursor to F3, where it deals with a series of numbers. What you would like it to do is jump by 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, similar to what it does over here in column A where it jumps by an hour. If you want it to jump by 5 or whatever pattern it is, select both cells, grab the fill handle, and drag it down. And you'll notice that it jumps by 5s. If you do not select both cells, the computer will not know the pattern and it will go from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. It will not jump by 5s the way your pattern is intended. Version 1 and 2 are both selected. What you want in the next cell is version 3, and you should notice that right away if you've got the fill handle or not. And it should fill it down all the way to version 15. You're not seeing it because the column is not wide enough. I'm going to double click up here so that the computer decides how wide the column has to be. In D3, I want the end of the month. And according to the instructions, it has 31 December 97. If you simply type in December 31st, comma, space 1997, you may get pound signs, which is Excel's way of showing you that the cell is not wide enough. So if you widen that out, you get 31 December 97. Then I'm going to type in January 31st, 1998, and again that format has changed. Selecting those two cells to build the pattern, and then grabbing the fill handle and drag down. But before I do that, I want you just to select one of the cells, and I want you to go to the home ribbon, to the number group, and notice that if you grab the dialog box launcher, if you click on that, on the left-hand side, select date. You have a number of different options to choose from, a number of different ways to display the date. And we will choose this. We can cancel out of this and have the same format as what we have. Select both of the cells and drag down, and you will notice that it gives the end of the month. Please, before you submit it, this has been the column that's been the biggest problem. People do not realize it is to be the end of the month dates. The next thing that I want to show you is to put borders around A3 through H17. Select the cells, come up to the home ribbon, and you can select all borders. They're a little bit darker now. If you go to print preview, you can see that there are no borders in the title, but there are borders located in the actual text. Get out of print preview, and the next set of instructions is to highlight I3 through I10. It is not column 1, it's column I. Merge and center, and type in your name. It looks to be horizontal, but when you hit enter, we do want our text to be vertical. So selecting our text, we can come up to the home ribbon in the alignment group and choose to rotate our text. And we are going to rotate text up. Now, merging and centering might not show that it's centered appropriately simply because of the text being aligned differently. There I got my name to be centered both horizontally and vertically in the cell. Another item that I've had troubles with, or a lot of people have had troubles with, is to get the appropriate date and the time, or the appropriate date in their documents. In Microsoft Word, I wanted you to go to Insert and choose the date and update it automatically. So if you started a letter on January 1st and didn't get back to it until January 15th, when you opened it up again, it would be January 15th. In Excel, if you type in equals today, and notice how this comes up and helps you out, open parentheses, close parentheses, and hit enter, it gives the appropriate date. Now, if I were to save this and open it up tomorrow, the date would be tomorrow's date. Similarly, if you type in equals now, open parentheses and close parentheses, and hit enter, it gives the date and the time. And this is extremely handy when you print out a number of copies of the same document. You want to make sure which one is the most current. Then you have the date and the time. I think that should answer all of the questions that I have for you or have heard from you. Make sure that you notice this here is a dotted line to show the page break. You need to make sure it fits on one page. Thank you.